So, it's a new year. It's 2022. Forgive this. This was a mess. I need to figure out what I did wrong. But it's 2022. And that means it's a new year. And that means that there's new H3VR things on the horizon. And that also means that we just got a full year's worth of H3VR. The game's turning 6 this year, which is frightening, but that means that there's plenty of opportunities for new weapons, like these 5. I have more than just 5, but for this video we're just going to discuss 5. If you have more that you'd like to see from this series, please let me know, and I can come up with more. Anyways, why doesn't the game have an Ithaca 37? The Ithaca is just a pump shotgun, really. Its only claim to fame is the fact that the shells go in and come out of the same place. But the game doesn't have an Ithaca. It has so many other pump shotguns. I feel like if people are picky enough to want one of the pumps but not one of the others, we can include an Ithaca. And along the same lines, the game doesn't have an R93. There's actually been a couple times in weapon tryouts that I've needed an R93, and the game just doesn't have one. That's dumb. I mean, it's fine, but man oh man, I kind of just wish the game had an R93. The Hitman video would have included it. If people are picky enough for 4 different Mosins to exist in this game, I feel like we can get an R93. Kind of along similar lines, there's so many ways to shoot 22 LR in H3VR, but none of them are quite as handsome as the Whitney Wolverine. Look at this. I love the lines on this thing. It's very sleek and space agey, and it's just good. It's just really freaking good. I like 22 in H3VR. The American 180 is probably one of my favorite weapons in the game. I like all the little pistols. The Rugers are always lovely when they show up. You better believe I get a Whitney Wolverine. I'm going ham. Sometimes, though, it's not about just one weapon or even a family of weapons. It's a whole ecosystem. And with that in mind, the game doesn't have an XM8, and it should really have an XM8. Now, the XM8 is literally just a G36 in different plastic housing. But what makes the XM8 special was there was, it's called P-caps. In lieu of the regular Picatinny rail, there are little oval holes on the sides, the top, and then the bottom of the gun. And you just kind of slide and lock your attachments into those holes. What makes them so special is that there's only 2 caps on the top, so if you lock something into place on those top rails, you take it off and then you put it back on, it maintains at 0. It's not like Picatinny rail where you have it's infinitely adjustable along that rail. You have a predetermined number of slots where you can attach something. There was a foregrip and a flashlight, a bunch of different kinds of sights. Stuff like that would just be super cool to have in H3VR. There's already a bunch of bespoke weapon mods for a bunch of other guns. I think we can get bespoke weapon mods for the XM8. And for people who don't like that system, then we can just offer a P-caps to Picatinny rail adapter. You just slot it in, and then you can just slide an attachment onto the rail, and then you're good to go. And then at that point, it's just a G36. And why do you have an XM8 then? It's just a G36. My number 1 pick isn't really surprising, but boy howdy, I'd love to see this in H3VR, and it really kind of encapsulates the fact that H3VR isn't really just a game. It's kind of like an archive or a simulation. And there's so many things that can only exist anymore within simulations because their days have gone. I am, of course, talking about the Konstantinov SA-01. Look at that grip. It is above the barrel. No, actually, I'm talking about the Gyrojet weapon system. Gyrojet was invented in the 60s, and the bullets are tiny little rockets. I'm not going to beat around the bush. Now, they don't explode. Borderlands 2 gave people massive beef brain about that, but they don't explode. They are just projectiles where all of the propellant comes with the bullet. So I think to implement something like this, you could almost add like the... on the RPG in H3, it accelerates over distance. It's just kind of attach that system to a bullet, and at that point it's not really a bullet at that point. It's just a tiny, sharp melee that kind of just comes flying. It's almost like the needle in the syringe gun. It's kind of just that, but with a bullet shape that just accelerates over time. Point blank, it's maybe about as powerful as 22, maybe around that power. But then as you kind of increase, it becomes more armor piercing, and it's moving faster, and it can tear through more stuff better. And it'd just be cool to have that, first of all. But then also, secondly, that weapon system on the whole is kind of going extinct. Ammo for it costs about $100 a round, last I checked. And there is footage of people, shooting it in real life. But eventually one day there just won't be any ammo left, or what is left will be in private collections or in museums just left to rot away. H3VR kind of gives us an interesting ability to archive and hold onto things like that and give these, forgotten or extinct weapon systems kind of a chance to shine once more. Now people can go and, virtually, but they can go and fire off as much gyrojet as they want. And I think that's just really neat. And I feel like, to some respect, that kind of makes H3VR this really cool archival tool and preservation tool. And I don't know if Anton really intended for that to be the case, but I just think it'd be very neat to have something like that in H3. And kind of give the game new life as this archive or interactive museum of what once was. And I'm not particularly even fond of firearms. I like the 1911, I like the M1928, the Garand is pretty cool. I'm more interested in the video gamey aspects, recoil and balance and fire rate and reload animations, that kind of stuff. But H3VR just kind of hits different. That's my spiel. I'm not going to make this longer than it needs to be. Here's to 2022. If you have other weapons that you'd like to see in the game, leave them in a comment. Anton won't see them, though, so oh well. You all can discuss what you want. And if you'd like to see me do more of these kinds of things, I can definitely look around and try to come up with 5 more. I just think this thing's neat. This thing, of course, being H3. But yeah, that's all I've got. Stay safe in 2022. This feels weird, like my hands feel heavy. If you liked this video and you'd like to see more, I'd recommend subscribing. Coffee and social media links are in the description.